now, the session, and we're going to let a few more people in. And basically the format is going to be, we're going to just let you kind of talk about, what you do. We'll have people coming in as we go here. There's over 500 members. We have some, I think around 50. So if RSVP, probably have others joining us as we go. So we want to kind of hear about how do you value token projects. I want people to know that Ian is actually one of the first people that I started listening to. Please mute if you're not on at the moment. Okay, so Ian is actually one of the first people that I started listening to. Ian, you probably don't know that. About 4.5, 5 years ago when I got into the crypto and blockchain space. I'm based, of course, here in Singapore, started a company for African diaspora. Doing that, we started our meetups, and you were one of the first people that I started learning from. So been a big fan of what you've been doing all this time, and really looking forward to you giving people some good advice, and obviously tell us about what you're doing with Tokenimatics, Tokenomics. And I know that also you have some new stuff that you guys have been kind of releasing, and hopefully you can give people we'll do some Q&A toward the end if you're okay with that. So once you're done kind of talking about what you want to talk about, we'll let everybody have the chance to ask their questions, and hopefully give us some things like how to avoid the Squid Game token that just came out and went to zero and that kind of thing, right? So without further ado, what I'd like to do, if you're good, Ian, is I'd like to kind of hand it over to you. You can kind of introduce yourself, start talking about what you do, and then after that, we'll let people come in with some questions and kind of just have a discussion. Now, facilitate that.
Yeah, sounds good. Can I also share my screen as well to kind of do some markers on the different items?
1 second. There you go. All right, is that working?
All right. Yes, sounds good. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. What is it, like good evening over there? Or good night?
Singapore, it is good evening.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are.
UK, all over the world. So.
Yeah. All right. So my name is Ian Balina. I'm the founder and CEO of Tokenimatics. I have put this up here right now on my screen. Hope you all can see that. Tokenimatics is a crypto investment research platform. Essentially, we leverage data, analytics, and machine learning to help crypto investors become smarter investors. So we're taking tools that are typically reserved for smart money, hedge funds, Wall Street analysts, and basically making them available to retail investors and traders. That's basically our product. So that our mission statement is to really provide economic empowerment for all mankind and humanity through investing in crypto. Within crypto is the biggest wealth transfer in human history. And for people of our ethnicity and color and race to be able to participate in this, I think is huge. I think this is how we basically catch up and maybe even build generational wealth globally, right? And that's why I love crypto. So at a high level with our platform, we have different plans, but I'll go through that down the road. Then for now, the main features we basically take thousands of crypto assets. We have over 9,000 crypto assets at this point in our platform, basically cryptocurrencies, tokens, and we go through and we rate them on a scale of 0 to 100%. So let me actually dive into the platform right now. So this is basically the platform at a high level, right? So basically when you log in, we go through and we do the heavy lifting for you to try to find coins using data analytics and our AI model that we think can do well, right? So for example, right now, looking at all these coins, our AI is still bullish on Solana. It's been bullish on Solana since around $20, right? And some people have made a lot of life-changing money by getting early and basically being early in this trade using our platform, right? This is what it does, right? So basically you come here, it sifts through all thousands of coins out there, and it tells you which ones it thinks will do well based on our Tokenimatics grade. Our grade basically combines fundamental analysis, technical analysis, quantitative analysis, on-chain data, and other metrics to figure out what coins we think will perform well, right? So even if you're new or you're a pro, it makes it very easy to find new coins to trade, right? And then we also have trading signals based on our machine learning models that go through and tell you whether or not we think something is bullish, right? So this makes it a lot easier for a new investor or even a pro investor to get to insights very, very quickly, right? Then we take these ratings and we then build model portfolios that are custom tailored to different exchanges. So for example, if you go to indices here, let's say you want to only trade on Binance and Coinbase and Uniswap, right? So for me, I like to look at the weekly index, meaning that every week it will go through and rebalance that portfolio. And looking at this, we see that the Binance index is up 283%, right? And this has greatly outperformed Bitcoin. And the index has these coins. Using our TM grade, it goes through and tries to build a diversified portfolio. What does that mean? That means it's not just getting all the coins that have high risk, because say you have Ethereum, which is rated high, and let's say you have Synthetics, which is also rated highly, but Synthetics has a very high correlation with Ethereum. Then basically there's no alpha, there's no value in having Synthetics and Ethereum in the same portfolio, because if Ethereum goes up, Synthetics will also go up, and if Ethereum goes down, Synthetics will also go down. If anything, you want to have the opposite. You want to have something that will balance out the portfolio, so that if Ethereum goes up or if Ethereum goes down, you want to have something in your portfolio that is not correlated to Ethereum and will still go up. Right? So we do the heavy lifting for you by building a diversified portfolio. So in this case, we have the following. We have Solana, Shiba Inu, Illuvium, Gnosis, and Aavegotchi. All these are pretty decent coins. And down here, it shows you the return of this portfolio versus holding Bitcoin. And then down here, we break down the ROI of this Bitcoin, of this portfolio, and also all the trades it's making. Every time it does a rebalancing, it breaks it down here, so anybody can go through here and follow along since the inception of this X. It's very easy for that to be a investment expert or be a math expert or math whiz to go through and make money in crypto, right? So that's one other element we have. Now let's look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum is going through an all-time high. So our models go through and also try to guide you in terms of when to get in and when to get out. So essentially when to take profits. So let's say, right, Ethereum is at an all-time high. Should you stay in? Should you hodl, right? So down below here, we have our grades, right? So our grades right now are very high on Ethereum, right? So our grades are based on 3 time horizons: daily, weekly, and monthly. Now, for the most part, I like to use daily and weekly because crypto moves so fast. But in general, anything over an 80% grade is very bullish. So right now, even though Ethereum is at a new all-time high, our models are saying stay in Ethereum because it's just getting started, essentially, right? Until maybe when it drops below a 75%, then maybe start taking profits off the table, take out your initial investment and some other profits. But in general, right now is not a good time to be selling Ethereum based on this model. And we do this for over 9,000 crypto assets, and we're always adding new ones all the time. Then we also have price predictions. Price predictions essentially go through and using our machine learning, try to give you an idea of where the price could go. Now, typically, our price predictions typically are more conservative. Just because I view this more like almost like a support in terms of where Ethereum could go. So in this case, we have Ethereum. We're predicting Ethereum to be at about 3,400, but it's actually at 4,500. So it's doing a lot better. But we're not really predicting any crash anytime soon, which is a plus. Then we also have different models to go through and kind of give an idea of where Ethereum could go. Is market share, right, and dominance versus Bitcoin and the whole market. And this in general is the platform as a whole. We also have other products that help guide our customers through the crypto space. So people love to learn through education, through knowledge, right? So actually I do have a book that came out a few months ago. I'm not sure if our team has sent that to you, but we do have this available as an ebook that we can send out for free to all of you. We'll just coordinate with John. But this is called the Crypto Investing Guide: How to Invest in Bitcoin, DeFi, NFTs, and more. And definitely go check it out. It's a great introductory book for anybody who wants to get into crypto. We go through several categories from what is Bitcoin, blockchain, and crypto, how to use them, how to store them safely without getting hacked. What is DeFi? What are NFTs? How to research crypto assets based on fundamentals? How to do trading and technical analysis? How to build a portfolio that's diversified? Quantitative investing and trading. So basically anything that you would likely use being involved in crypto, our team has tried to put that in one single guide. You can actually download the ebook, I believe, if you just go to our webpage, tokenimatics.com. If you go down to the bottom, there should be, and just click Free Crypto Investing Guide. This should take you to the book page as well. And when you go here, you can either buy the book as a physical book, or you can download the book as a free download by just going over here, right? And this will just basically just put in your email and your name, and you'll download the book. So I can drop this link in the chat for anybody who likes. Where's the chat? Okay. And then we also have Tokenimatics TV, right? So this is our version of like Netflix, essentially, or Hulu. But basically for our customers, we provide high-level premium content just for them. So basically, you just log in here using your Tokenimatics account. We have a daily market update with our senior market analyst, Bill Noble, who you may know. We have my show where I go through and do deep dives on what I'm currently doing and investing in. Right. So for example, my last video was on DAOs. Why I think DAOs are the next big narrative in crypto. We have a quant show with a quant analyst where he goes through different things such as trading options in crypto. We have Forbes who goes through and basically does technical analysis and price predictions using a rational and logical method to kind of analyze where trending coins are going, such as Shiba Inu, Polkadot, and others. We have a show where we go through and analyze new coins that we think could be hidden gems. Basically, through our network, through our customer base, they give us different coins to look at. We go through, review them based on our fundamental analysis, and the ones that we think are good, we cover them in this show. We have a news show where we go through and basically share news and updates in the crypto space. And we also have a mobile app coming out next month, essentially as Android and iOS, where you can download all the, where you can go and watch this anywhere you are, right? So basically building out, our goal is essentially to become similar to Bloomberg, how you have Bloomberg Terminal. Let's think of Tokenimatics Analytics platform as a software-based version for that in crypto. And then we're essentially building our own Bloomberg TV, but for crypto, with just crypto content at a high level that's very premium, catering to our customer base. And at a high level, that's pretty much the platform. We have other products as well, but just due to time, may not have the time to go through all that. We're launching TM Academy next year, which will be for universities and colleges who want to go through and have the students have access to tokenomics. We're launching TM Enterprise, which will basically be for enterprises and institutional investors or large companies who want to give our platform to their whole company, right? And we also have a daily newsletter where we basically go through and update you on the market and our analysis and insights based on fundamental analysis, based on code reviews and all of that. And with that being said, let me know if you have any questions. The site is, I'll post this as well. We've been featured in some well-known publications from CNN to Bloomberg, Forbes, Business Insider, CNBC. I mean, basically, mainstream media is now looking at crypto strongly, and crypto is the future of money, the future of open finance. And for anybody who wants to invest in that, we think our platform can help with that. And thank you. I'll pause there and answer any questions you may have. You're on mute,
Yeah,
John?
I am muted. So we'll open it up for questions a little bit here. I'm not sure if you had more you're going to cover, Ian, or if you wanted to just go just in the Q&A.
I can share my story. I can share my story in background.
Yeah, that'd be great
as well. Yeah, so I'll share my story. So I joined crypto back in October 2016. I was working at IBM. I joined IBM. I was there for 4 years. My first 3 years, I was a technical sales engineer. My last year, I was a Analytics Evangelist covering all of North America for IBM Analytics, IBM Open Source, and IBM Cloud. My background comes from, I was a computer engineer, master's and bachelor's at GW, George Washington University in DC. Worked at Deloitte Consulting for a bit, then joined IBM. But I've always been technical and in tech. But when I joined crypto, it was kind of fascinating. A friend of mine who went to Bowie, we're friends in DC, he came to me and said, IBM is doing a lot of great things with the blockchain. IBM was working on IBM Hyperledger, and he wanted me to put him in touch with the director of blockchain at IBM. And I said, why do you care about this blockchain thing? Like, because that was a big ask for me to try to put him in touch with somebody who was above my pay grade, essentially. And I said, why do you care for this? And he said he's a Bitcoin developer, and he was launching a crypto hedge fund. And that just fascinated me, because here he was, a black guy, 27 years old, no Wall Street background or pedigree, launching a hedge fund to invest in Bitcoin and crypto. And it just kind of, my mind was blown. And I said, okay, what's going on with this Bitcoin thing? I mean, I had 1,000 questions. And basically he told me he was making over 200% just buying and holding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And once I heard that, that was beating the 20% I was making in the stock market. And it just made sense to me because I've always been a high risk taker. Being an entrepreneur, having lots of businesses, having done investing and trading, having dabbled in penny stocks. So to me, high risk, high reward was something I loved. So that same week, I went on Coinbase and I bought my first Bitcoin, my first Ethereum. Bitcoin was around $850 and Ethereum was about $8. And I put in just $100 into each. So basically $200 total investment, because that was what I was willing to lose, right? Because in crypto, the famous expression is only in what you're willing to lose. So I did just that. And I did that specifically because I knew I had to have skin in the game to be able to follow the space more actively and to be more in the know, right? It's kind of like when you buy a car, once you buy a car, you start seeing that same car everywhere, right? When you buy something, right, you start seeing that thing more often because now your brain is in tune and aware for that. And I knew that I had to have skin in the game to really become more educated. So I bought whatever I could, and then I went down the rabbit hole. First thing I did is I went on Amazon and I bought the top 2 books at the time in the crypto space. They were Digital Gold and The Age of Cryptocurrency. I bought those 2 books. And after buying those 2 books, essentially, I took about 2 or 3 months going through those books. And those books just helped me understand the space a lot more. Once I did that, I basically knew that, okay, this is the future of the internet. This is the next iteration of the internet. And I have to be involved in this because I view this as the biggest wealth transfer in human history. So there's no way if I have the opportunity to get in on the ground floor that I'm not going to participate in this. I just went down that rabbit hole. Then fast forward to January 2017. I just got my quarterly and annual commission check from IBM from working in sales. And by working in sales, can you all see me? I'm not sure if, I think it might be
good.
You can? Okay, all right, sorry. So by working in sales, I had a nice commission check and I took that and I put that into crypto. I basically said, okay, you know what? I had so many other things I was doing. I was doing Amazon FBA business, I had an Airbnb business, I had business, I had a video production company I was doing. And I realized all this could not make me money passively like crypto. All the other things I was doing, I was exchanging my time, my hours, my labor to make money, right? With crypto, I could make money as I sleep, which was a huge value prop. So I put in 2,500 into Bitcoin, 2,500 into Ethereum, basically total investment of $5,000. And then Ethereum in a week and a half went from like $12 to $45. And I said, holy cow, this is incredible. I mean, I have to go all in. And the reason Ethereum went to $45 so quickly, they announced the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. This was them basically working with big enterprise companies, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Citibank, all these big companies essentially doing proof of concepts, POCs on the Ethereum blockchain. And this was basically the first enterprise endorsement for Ethereum. And then from there, the rest is kind of history. I began basically dollar cost averaging into crypto. Every month or two, whenever I had some money, I would put in money. And I took about 20 grand in total and turned that to 5 million in less than 1 year using a data-driven method for investing in crypto, basically leveraging analytics. I had a spreadsheet that I made open source and would just share with my community doing live streams on YouTube. And in less than a year, those live streams went viral because people began making money from using that spreadsheet I had where I would document and log all my investments and trades using the system, right? Basically, it was the Moneyball of crypto. I took this data-driven approach because my background was in analytics at IBM. And when I saw the value prop in that, because at the peak of January 2018, this spreadsheet was getting over 1 million unique visitors per month. And that showed to me that people needed this framework for researching crypto assets, and it was working, and there was a need in the market. And that's when the idea to launch Tokenimatics was born, basically taking that same spreadsheet and turning that into a software product, a SaaS product. Now going back, so September 2017, I had about $250,000 in crypto, and I said, you know what, this is the future. I have some money. I had some money coming in as well via my Patreon, which I had launched that same month with my audience. And I said, I'm going to quit my job at IBM, and I quit. And that was actually 12 months after I got into crypto. So within 12 months, I basically made good enough money to a point where I was able to quit my job and go full-time in crypto, specifically because I was missing out on opportunities to invest by not being full-time in this space. Because crypto moves so fast. I was stuck in some meetings, missed out on a few deals here and there, like did 10x, 20x returns. And I said, I mean, time is money, and I'm making more money being in crypto, so I have to go all in. And then by end of the year, in December 2017, I became a crypto millionaire. And it was pretty cool because it was me and my 2 other Black friends in Tokyo, Japan, which is where I kind of got the idea to want to go full-time in crypto. Well, we were there on a crypto visit with the company we had just invested in. And while we're there on the meeting, we checked our Blockfolio, basically our portfolio on the phone. And we saw that all 3 of us at the same time had become crypto millionaires. And it was pretty cool because we're all brothers. And that's why I think crypto is beautiful, because it can really provide financial freedom and empowerment to anybody, regardless of who you are, your race, your gender, where you're from. Right? Like, this is literally the biggest wealth transfer in human history, and there's nobody gatekeeping it, right? Which is why I think it's so fascinating, and why I think, why for me, I love to evangelize and share this message.
So let me open it up with a couple of questions. Is there like a, I know a lot of people, I've had people ask me all the time about different projects and, how do we know if it's a bad project? How do we know it's got potential? What do you look for? How do you know, something is, that this is like a red flag, this is a terrible project, or this really has potential, or what do you look for?
Great question. So for us, we have a framework for reviewing crypto assets for investing. So the first thing we look for are fundamentals, right? So fundamentals means we go through and we rate using a framework, the team, the background, where they come from. Basically, do they come from well-known blockchain projects that are in top 25, top 50 market cap? Or do they come from well-known companies, such as a publicly traded company, such as, let's say, Amazon or Microsoft or Facebook, right? Or are they just some random person off the street trying to launch a project, right? Basically, what is their prior track record, right? That is always a good sign. And then we look at the tokenomics, right? Are the tokenomics friendly? Are they skewed more towards insiders, or are they skewed more towards giving the community a fair opportunity to participate in their ecosystem? And then looking at their community, how big is the community? How well, so all these different data points, we go through and we rate them for fundamentals, and it has to score over an 80% or higher. Once that happens, we then send that to our blockchain research engineers, who then go through and do a code review, a code audit, going through and verifying the technology to see how well it is, right? Looking at the developer's background, right? Their history on GitHub, right? How often do they update their code, right? How well is the code written, right? Is the code good, or just to focus on other project, right? Is there actual innovation in this code, right? Is this something that can apply towards a large use case, or is this something that's just for a very small use case, right? So basically the addressable market cap of the project. Are there any bugs in the code? Could they have done the code a lot better, right? So all this, we then rate this as well, and it has a score of an 80% or higher on the technology and the code, for us to really feel solid about that. But then after that, the third step is going through and doing a valuation analysis, right? Is this something that's undervalued or overvalued? Something can have great technology and great fundamentals, but why overvalued? Meaning that while it's good, now's not the good time to get in. Basically, valuation tells you when to enter, right? So for example, one project, Dfinity, and Casper Labs as well, great projects, decent technology. When they launched, they were widely overvalued, right? And like textbook, within like a month or two, they had lost over 80% of their value and in price. Meaning that even though something can be good, if it's overvalued, it will come down in price. right? But as a value investor, which is how I define myself, we like to find great projects with great fundamentals that are undervalued. So essentially, we like to buy them cheap at a discount. Right? So we wait for them to crash. Once they crash, then when they're undervalued, then it makes sense to start accumulating. Right? Basically, not going in all at once, but going in slowly over time. Right? That way, you can basically dollar cost average into it, and you have a better entry price on average. But in general, for somebody who's looking to invest long term, that's what we like to do with our platform. We like to provide that analysis and that research to help you find projects that are great with fundamentals, great technology that are undervalued as a whole.
So let me ask this question, and I'll note, hopefully this doesn't embarrass you at all, but I know you became a crypto millionaire, I think, in the first, what was it, year or two. So just so people know that you did quite well in this. I don't know if everybody knows your background. So, and when you talk about tokenomics, I think a lot of people don't know what does that mean exactly. Can you kind of define what you're talking about there?
Yeah, it's basically taking economics and game theory and applying that to cryptocurrencies and tokens, right? So if you have, so in crypto, you have tokens, essentially the crypto asset that's being issued or minted, right? But you also have to understand how that will impact the other players, the other participants in that ecosystem. And so take Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin, the only 21 million Bitcoin that can ever be mined, right? Now, in terms of how many Bitcoins are being mined or created every single day, right? That's basically the inflation schedule, right? Now, Bitcoin is basically a finite crypto asset, right? The only 20 million, once it hits the cap, it's done. Then you have some other crypto assets that don't have a finite cap. They have a inflationary cap where they're mining new crypto assets or new tokens or minting new tokens with no cap in mind, right? So how does that compare versus one that's finite? The one that's finite is more scarce, meaning that it'll be more valuable if demand for it increases. Right? So basically, it's applying economics towards crypto assets because something can be great, but if the economics of it don't make sense, it can basically be almost useless in crypto, right? Which is why this whole field called tokenomics, token economics, has been created, right? Because you have to go through and understand how this works, especially when you factor in other kinds of things such as staking, right? Basically being able to lock up or freeze your crypto asset and earn yield for that. How does that extra yield impact the total valuation of the crypto asset, right? But one other aspect is, let's say there's a cryptocurrency that has 1 billion total tokens, but only 200 million are actually liquid and circulating. And the other 800 have to be created over time, over 20 or 30 years, right? How will this impact the value of this, right? Because one common scam by projects is to have a huge supply, right, with a very small liquid circulating supply, right? So take that same example. If you have 1 billion total tokens, but only 1 million tradable, right? Someone can easily manipulate that on an exchange in terms of the price. And that's how you end up with projects like Squid Game, where basically people had basically it was a rug pull. Somebody could artificially manipulate the price, right? And once they pumped up the price, they sold all their tokens and everybody else got wrecked. They basically lost all their money, right? So that's something you have to be very cognizant of in crypto. And that's where the tokenomics matter a lot. It can help you find projects that might look good on paper, but after further analysis and research, you realize, okay, this is just a Ponzi scheme, it's a pump and dump. There's no way this can be sustained long term.
And I think that's a great point. You got to be very aware of those potential scams, because I think a lot of the media, often you'll see people talk about the scams, but they won't talk about the opportunity. You'd mentioned in the beginning, I think for African American, African diaspora, this is one of the only opportunities to really bridge the wealth gap, which has been out there for quite some time. So it's really important to know the difference between a scam and the difference between a legitimate opportunity, because there's a lot of legit opportunities, but as you just mentioned, there's a lot of scams out there too. So being able to differentiate, really important. For people who want to ask questions, you can come in on, just go ahead and, kind of raise your hand or unmute, or you can put it in the chat. I'll ask some more questions. If anybody's got a question though, feel free to jump in. this is a great opportunity because Ian is a wealth of knowledge about, this space, and a great person to learn from. Maybe you could talk a little bit, Ian, while we're waiting for other questions to come in, about kind of that whole kind of, I said, as an African diaspora, that Black wealth aspect. How do you see this as like an opportunity? Can you give people kind of your view as to, why is this different than just investing in some stocks or getting some bonds or something?
Yeah, I mean, great question. One, this is the biggest wealth transfer in human history, right? Meaning that what stocks, bonds, I mean, that's to me something you invest in once you've already made your money and you're trying to not lose your money, right? But this is an industry where people can literally become millionaires within a year or two. Obviously, that's not common for everybody. You have to kind of still be good at this. And that's what we try to do with our platform, Tokenomics. But in terms of the speed of the wealth transfer, right? That's something that is very hard to find anywhere else, right? In stocks and bonds, that speed of wealth transfer is not there like it is in crypto, right? In crypto, products like Solana that do a 300x, meaning that 1 grand turns to 300 grand in basically less than 2 years, right? I mean, that's not quite happening in stocks, right? Crypto is where it's happening because crypto is a lot newer. It's still a small asset class relative to other asset classes like real estate, bonds, stocks, equities, all that, right? And then 2, this is permissionless, meaning that anybody can participate, right? The whole point of crypto is that it's meant to be borderless, right? It's breaking down borders, breaking down boundaries, especially with decentralized finance, DeFi for short. Anybody can go on a DEX, a decentralized exchange, and trade and buy crypto assets without having to ask for permission from anybody, right? That is powerful, right? Because in some places, there's lots of regulation and compliance or even restrictions from people from having access, right? If you're somebody in Africa or Uganda or somewhere else, right? Do you have the same access as somebody in America to buy Tesla stock or Amazon stock? Right? You have to jump through hoops, and even then, who knows if it's possible, right? Or if it is, there are a bunch of different restrictions limiting you on you investing in that, right? With DeFi, you don't have any of that. That's why it's powerful. That's why I think it's going to change everything. Lots of other industries have been disrupted, from travel with Airbnb, transportation with Uber, but now finance for the first time is also being disrupted. And same thing with art, with NFTs, with non-fungible tokens. So for people to now be able to participate in this disruption and basically get in at the ground floor, basically for the first time in history, retail investors can front run smart money on Wall Street, right? For the first time in history, people who were not investment experts could have bought Bitcoin back in 2013, before Wall Street was buying Bitcoin. And that rarely happens. Usually it's the other way around. Usually smart money gets in, Wall Street gets in, the top 1% gets in, and then the bottom 99% basically have to buy the top. That after the price is appreciated. But now it's flipped on its head. Now any regular Joe or Jane can go and buy Bitcoin and crypto before Wall Street banks even get involved, right? And that's, to me, is huge.
Great. We got some questions now from the audience, Janine and then Joseph. Janine, do you want to start?
Yes, I'm going to ask one question because I have several questions actually. You mentioned that you are a crypto millionaire, and I wanted to know what does that mean? And I don't mean that you now are able to buy the cars and things like that, but in a world where we still are living in a centralized banking world, what does that look like to be? What does it
Yeah,
look like for you? Are you totally bankless?
no. I mean, I still have bank accounts, right? So like I pay my rent with a bank account. I buy my car with a bank account. I fund my business with a bank account, right? But crypto millionaire means that I made my millions in crypto, and then I can cash out into
Oh,
dollars in a bank account.
mhm.
Right now, there are some people I know who are completely bankless, right? You can, like, I've bought my art using crypto, using stable coins, right?
Mhm.
I know people who can buy homes or who've bought homes or cars using crypto, using Bitcoin, Ethereum, stable coins, but it's not as common.
Okay. Can I ask another question, or shall I
Yeah, go
give
for
someone
it.
else a turn?
Go for another
Okay.
one.
Um, you also mentioned something about the amount of tokens that you can have on the ecosystem, and that you can either burn them, or if they haven't reached the maximum yet. What when it comes to tokenomics, would it be better to burn the coins, or would it be better to recycle them?
For tokenomics, it's better to burn the coins because you're decreasing the supply, meaning that you're making it more scarce artificially, right? So basically supply and demand, right? The less coins they are, or the less coins that people can get,
Mm-hmm.
if demand increases, then it becomes more scarce, meaning the price should appreciate in theory.
Okay. And when we're looking at banking the unbanked in the continent of Africa, for us here in the West, it's easy to get to the cryptos. But how does it look like for those in the continent that don't even maybe have the access to the knowledge that you are sharing? So, do you have some sort of solution for those that are currently unbanked to get them into into this
Yes,
space?
yeah. I mean, that's why my book is available as an ebook for free. I want to make sure anybody who wants
Mm-hmm.
to access the knowledge to be able to get that. We also have a YouTube channel, which is about to get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, where we do free videos. We post videos every single day. We have 2 live streams for about an hour long on crypto, right? So we're trying to put out there as much knowledge as possible on this space, right? So for anybody out there who wants to get involved, right, they have the knowledge out there. I've also traveled to Africa, where I'm from, to Uganda, to Kenya, to South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt, and hosted crypto conferences and meetups, basically educating and trying to spread the word. But yeah, I mean, we definitely want to help bank the unbanked. And I think the first step is by providing education that's widely available and free.
Okay, thank you.
All
Those
right, and
were
Joseph, let me get to your question, and then Eve, I see you have one in the chat. Anybody else to raise your hand, please go ahead and do that. Joseph, what's your question?
Hi, Ian. I've been following you since 2017, and you're fantastic, man. Seriously. My question is that basically when it comes to NFTs, you have the token economics for cryptos, like those tokens, but when it comes to NFTs, what are your opinions? Because at least from what I see so far, a lot of them are that it seems like there's going to be a link between NFTs and DAOs. So I'm hoping to kind of get your perspective on that. Thanks.
Yes, I mean, so I think NFTs are disruptive, very, very disruptive. Actually, I'm currently attending NFT NYC in New York, a NFT conference. And for the first time, this is probably the most diverse crypto conference I've been to, right? Meaning it's not just a bunch of people who look exactly the same, right? Not just men, not just white people, but it's a complete melting pot. The NFT ecosystem has brought in creatives, artists, merged with developers, merged with investors from all over the world, all walks of life. And essentially NFTs have taken crypto mainstream, right? Because now we're basically tokenizing art and we're tokenizing culture, right? And then I think DAOs as well. DAOs basically tokenizing social groups, culture, and everything in between. And I think that DAOs would take crypto even more mainstream because now everybody can be impacted by DAOs and NFTs. Because I mean, DAOs essentially are groups coming together and creating an online ecosystem with a shared bank account and a shared token, right? And being humans, it means being social, right? So everybody who's a human will be impacted by a DAO, right? So the way I view all this is completely disruptive. But in terms of actually investing in this, right now it's still relatively new. It's kind of like the ICO space back in 2017. I think it will take a while for this space to mature, but our team is working hard on actually creating our own NFT product, right? Basically being able to create a a product using analytics and machine learning that can analyze and tell what NFT goes, what specific NFT will make a good investment right now in real time, right? And we think a data-driven approach to investing in NFTs and even DAOs will be widely welcome in the space as the space grows and matures even more.
Answer your
Thank
question,
you.
Chris? Okay, great. Eve in the chat says, I've just joined the meeting. What metrics should we be analyzing before making the decision to buy into any projects?
I mean, there are lots of metrics out there, right? I mean, so at a high level, basically, you should be looking at the fundamentals, the technology and the code, and the valuation, right? Basically, is it undervalued or overvalued relative to similar projects in its sector, right? Because that also gives you an idea of when to enter, right? Because it's not about just finding something that's great as based on fundamentals and technology. You also have to look at, is this valued accurately relative to the market? So for example, one of my best investments in the last 1 to 2 years was Matic Network, Polygon. Basically, I was in when it was under 3 cents. It was basically at one point even under a penny. And it ended up going to over $250, went to like $270 in basically less than a year or so. But even though I got in early, I bought more when they pivoted and changed themselves from Matic Network to Polygon, and they changed their whole business model to becoming the Internet of Blockchains on Ethereum. And the reason I could do that was I knew now they're becoming a layer 2 blockchain, but basically a Internet of Blockchains. And looking at that space and looking at the competing products, I saw how the valuations were a lot higher. And I saw an opportunity for that to 10x based on its price and market cap, right? Basically going from, at the time, about let's say 10 cents to $1, right? Because I saw that its market cap was $500 million, and the top 3 projects that were during that same space were valued from like 30 billion to like 10 billion to like the third or fourth was around 4 or 5 billion, right? So I felt this project was better than the third project at 5 billion. So I felt its valuation could go from $500 million to 5 billion, basically doing a 10x in valuation. So basically I saw that as being undervalued, and I doubled down and put in even more money in it. And within basically 2 months that happened. It actually went to 5 billion and more, right? So doing that kind of valuation and analysis can help you see something that's undervalued and get in. Because it's not just about finding something that's good, it's finding something that's good that's undervalued.
Janine, your hand is still up. Did you have another question?
No, sorry.
Okay.
I just have to lower my hands.
So another question, not a pleasant favorite one, but I guess if you're in the States or elsewhere, taxes. Is there any advice on dealing with that on from a crypto perspective? Made some gains and taxes are coming.
It's definitely one of the biggest problems people have once they make money in crypto. How to handle taxes? Obviously, speak to a tax professional and a tax advisor. But I recommend tokentax.co. It's basically a software that can plug into all your crypto exchanges and basically pull in that data and basically help you calculate your taxes for you. And there's also an option for them to, or rather for you to speak to a CPA that's basically been kind of vetted by them to help you with their crypto taxes as well, right? And basically there's also an option on the platform to just go through kind of a glance to make sure it looks right, and then export the imported reports and hand that to your accountant, who can then help you with your taxes, right? So that makes it a lot easier in terms of tax and accounting for crypto.
Great. Let's see if there's any other questions out here. From Omar, will there still be layer 2 protocols with upgrades to ETH and other layer 1s like Solana, I think that is. So the question is, will there be use for layer 2 protocols with the upgrades that are happening on like Ethereum and Solana?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think there'll definitely be use for them, right? Because while they're happening, there's still different layer 2s that focus on a different niche, right? Where even the improvements on layer one will still not be good enough, right? For example, one of that is gaming, right? The gaming niche, even NFTs, right? So two layer twos we do like are Polygon / Matic Network. We also like Mutable X, which is NFT layer two project. So those two, I think, will still be needed. And then you also have others like Arbitrum, Optimism. Those don't have any tokens at the moment, although there's speculation that they might have tokens down the road. But even those two are also pretty solid as well.
And we have another question from Eve. Do you teach step-by-step guide on how to do the due diligence, this due diligence?
Yes, in the book, if you go to Amazon or on my page, Crypto Investing Guide, basically it walks you through how to do that step by step.
Greg asks, can I please repeat the name of the token tax software? Is it an app?
Yeah, I can type it token tax.ca, I believe is the, let me just double check to make sure I'm giving out the right. Yep, that's the one. Okay, sorry, I sent that to, I just sent it to the whole group.
Great. All right, and this current cycle is, obviously a lot of people are hearing, like if we look at the plan B's and talking about 100,000 Bitcoin this year, this cycle, a lot of people expecting things to kind of heat up a little more again before the cycle's over. Any thoughts on this cycle, dollar cost averaging, where you think we are, where you think, this is about to land?
Yeah, I mean, I'll begin with Ethereum because that's the one we mainly look at because we think that will flip Bitcoin. We think I would not be surprised if Ethereum kept on going to 6K all the way up to 10K this year. Right? We think that is all realistically possible. And long term, I mean, Ethereum can go to 20K. Right? The question is, what's the time frame? I think within 1 to 2 years, that's definitely possible. Bitcoin, yeah, we think Bitcoin can also go to 100K and higher. Right, but in general, we basically use the platform to kind of tell us when's a good time to enter and when's a good time to exit. Right. So, as mentioned here, right, I'm actually pull this up here to show you what our platform right now thinks about Bitcoin. So right now, Bitcoin is 62,000, and the grade daily and weekly grade and the monthly is over 80%. So we're still very bullish on Bitcoin, meaning that Bitcoin still has a lot of room to go, right? So I think 75K Bitcoin is possible, and even 100K, right? Now, once these grades drop below 75, then we basically think the top might be happening, right? But until that happens, right now, we're still bullish on Bitcoin.
Well, so you are kind of in agreement with that. You think the cycle has more to go, more upside right now.
Yeah, more upside for sure.
Cool. Okay, other questions from the group, from the audience? Anybody have other questions they'd like to ask Ian? Please don't miss the opportunity. Hand up. Greg, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we hear that the market is in a upswing right now, and that everything's going to continue to go up. But we also hear that early next year that the market is going to go down. Any thoughts on what that timing looks like, and when can we kind of know when that the downturn should happen? Because I hear right now maybe February, things, and they say alt season. Can you maybe talk to that a little bit about how Bitcoin and Ethereum goes up and then they go down and these altcoins start going up? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a cycle in crypto. Typically large caps, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and large caps, typically they'll go up first, right? And money flows into them. Then once they basically top out and come down a little and then start going sideways, not crashing, but sideways. Once they start going sideways, basically once they're in the accumulation phase, then people take out profits from them and then reinvest those profits into altcoins, right? Into alternative currencies, basically everything besides Bitcoin. It's called an altcoin. Once that happens, lots of money, lots of new capital is flowing into everything besides Bitcoin. And that's usually where the most of the gains happen, because people are buying new coins, anticipating they could do very, very well, right? And because the market cap is lower than Bitcoin, they typically move a lot faster, right? So like with me, most of my money has come in investing in altcoins, right? Projects like Matic Network, like Helium Network, like Icon and others, right? It's from getting in early in low cap coins that have great fundamentals, great technology, and are undervalued. And then once capital starts flowing in, that's when they take off, right? And that's when most of the money is made, right? Now, in terms of when these cycles will happen, it's impossible to time it, but we try to do it basically just using just analysis and data and technicals, right? For example, we basically working on an indicator for alt season and Bitcoin season. Essentially, but the way we view it is this: if let's say 2/3, if like anywhere from 66 to 75% of our grades turn bearish, that typically means alt season is over, and there could be a huge correction. And when there's a huge correction, people typically take profits on altcoins and move money back into Bitcoin, or they cash out in general, right? So we basically try to use that data-driven process to figure out when a crash is going to happen. But in terms of timing it, that's hard to say.
Great. We got a couple more questions coming in. Gregory, was that answer your question, Greg?
Yes, it did. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. Thank you for the clarity. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, Sunshine, let me go, and then Dr. Jones. We got a couple more hands up. Sunshine, you want to go ahead? Sunshine, you there? Can't hear you. Okay, Sunshine, I'm going to come back to you. Dr. Jones, you have a question?
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Good.
Go ahead.
Very good discussion. Very good. I've just got a small question, which is regarding the concern on comparing these investment instruments, especially looking at the question of inheritance. Do you see this is something that we just need to solve through education and awareness, or is something for the regulators to jump in?
In terms of inheriting crypto?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, because crypto is typically self-custody, or it's having an exchange custody the crypto assets for you. The common ways I've seen people do it is by, it's almost kind of like writing a will, right? Where in the will, they essentially have the private key, or they have the location on how to access that hardware wallet, right? So let's say somebody passes away, then in the will, they'll say, okay, there's an extra copy of the hardware wallet and this location. It could be in a house, in a safe box, in a bank vault. But basically, they'll leave instructions on how to access this, right, to their children, loved ones, family, so on, right? Then you have different options where if it's done by a firm such as Coinbase Custody or some other companies, right, where there's a fail-safe, right? It's basically a method or a process where if the person who has custody, there's basically a backup plan. If that person no longer is available, or let's say they pass away, for example, what would happen, right? That's simply done. Those methods are there, especially for institutional investors, right? For example, like with Gnosis Safe, which is used by lots of DeFi protocols, they have basically what they call multi-sig wallets, where let's say you have 3 people, and to make a transfer, you have to have 2 out of the 3 people sign and confirm and accept the transaction. And that way, if one person is not available, they can still maybe move funds into a different wallet or address, right? So they are there, but definitely the space can evolve a lot more on that aspect.
Thank you very much.
You're good. And also, Dr. Jones, I'll just note, we probably have the African Union session, I think, coming up here. So I was talking with Zach about that. So I can tell you more about that offline, talking about crypto and blockchain.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. We'd definitely love to be involved.
Right.
And for those who want to follow me, they're asking about my social media. So we're on youtube.com/Tokenomics. That's our YouTube channel. On Twitter, Tokenomics as well. My personal channel is twitter.com/diary of a made man. That's DIARY.
And
All right,
Joseph,
well,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go
Another
ahead.
question from Joseph here. Actually, I'll go to Sunshine. Is your audio working? I'll go to questions with the hands up first, and then I'll go to chat. So Sunshine, is your audio working? Okay. All right. Sundiata, I said that correct? Got a question?
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Yes, Sundiata, that's fine. Yeah, how's everybody doing today? Sorry, just going through email and realized I missed this meeting here somehow. It got filtered, but it's like missed a good meeting. I just got in here, so I did have a question. If you guys already haven't discussed it, that's fine. I want you going through it again. I'd probably contact you through one of your links here. But I wanted to know, do you have any experience using Odua coin at all? I'm assuming you've heard of it by now.
No, I do not. I don't experience using that.
Okay.
Not heard of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I'd say Bitcoin. I'm actually still learning, trying to learn crypto myself. But yeah, it's a dual coin is one out there. It's a kind of basic idea is it's basically a dual it's a coin out there trying to basically one of that a coin out there for the diaspora is pretty much the goal. If anyone hasn't heard of it. And so I was wanting to know if you had any experience with that yet. I'm looking to create a wallet. Still trying to learn this. I'm looking to create a wallet out there. But yeah, if anyone doesn't know about it, I'd suggest you go probably check that out there. The idea is to basically, get, like I said, get that diaspora. Obviously, it's a lot of us out there that still not aware of it, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can and pass it on because I know this is the future. And trying to get a lot of our people out there to be aware of it here. So that's pretty much the goal of their goal there. So, okay, well, that was interesting. But yeah, I'll definitely follow you here. And I definitely appreciate you guys doing this here. It's pretty cool. All right, appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. And now I'm going to go over to Sunshine. Did your audio come on, or you just end up putting it in the chat? Just put it in the chat. All right, let's go over to Joseph. Your question, he says, when it comes to DAOs, how important is privacy? Would it be critical point or a data point? So I guess you want to maybe explain that's distributed autonomous organization?
Yes, yeah. So for DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, think of them as groups with no central person in charge. Basically, the group as a whole basically votes together. It's kind of like this, right? Take this whole group. Imagine there was a token, and each person had one of that token, and you basically use that token as one vote, right, to vote on different things, right? So basically, there will be no central leader as a whole who controls the group, but it will just be the group as a whole would vote on issues that are pertinent or vital or important to the group, right? So with DAOs, I mean, to me, privacy is not really important, but each DAO can be set up differently, right? You can have a DAO where privacy is a focal point, or you can have a DAO where everybody is public, right? The whole thing is the DAO can choose and decide how they set their DAO up, essentially, right? So to me, it's a critical data point.
All right, and I'll check in how you are for time. We got quite a few more questions. So how are you doing as far as your time goes?
I do have to go soon, so maybe we can do a rapid fire where I just go through and answer all the questions in the chat.
Okay, if you can see the chat there, so we've got a couple more. We got one from
Yes, yeah.
Omar, yeah.
Yeah, so about the premium plan. So everything is available. I can quickly walk through the different plans we have. And we also do have a paid discounted trial available as well, but I'll just quickly walk through the plans here. And basically, these are the plans we have. We have yearly and monthly plans. Essentially, we have a basic plan. You get basically the ratings and trading signals on the page, and a weekly newsletter. Then the next plan, the advanced plan, gets you the indices I just showed you, the price predictions and other details, and a daily email and TMTV Plus. Then premium plan gets you our webinar, so weekly webinar that typically goes 1 to 2 hours long. Gets you alerts as well whenever there changes. Gets you on-chain data, sentiment analysis, and also a private Telegram group with all our other members. Then we have the VIP plan, which basically gets you everything plus a more exclusive VIP group on Telegram. And then you can also subscribe to TMTV as a separate product, right? Basically, you can come here and subscribe to it as its own product. Actually, let me go to, excuse me, let me just, if you go to TMTV subscription, I'll show you the plans for that. So this basically gives you access to these shows. And we also do special live streams as well, just to our customers. And yeah, I mean, those are the different plans. So on to the next question. I did share my social media channels. From Liz, what is the best way to take some profits from the top? I mean, in general, I would say you use our ratings. Anything when it goes under 75% on the daily and weekly, it typically is a good time to take profits. Then Dan says, I saw you had Shiba in the example portfolio shown earlier. What are the metrics or signals you look for to move from being a meme to a legitimate investment? So one thing to differentiate is the indices are basically trading, right? And when you're trading, you're basically looking at technical analysis, momentum, and quantitative metrics, right? So it's not so much a long-term investment. What I showed was a weekly index. So every week it will rebalance the index, right? So with that, it's looking more at what momentum and what's doing well based on that, right? Based on the TM grade, right? And the TM grade basically says, okay, right now, if you're trading for a week, a day, or a month, these are the coins things are good. But then the indices take that and build a portfolio that's diversified. Omar says, what do you think about XRD, Radix, and Spell? Unfortunately, I can't really get into individual coins. I've heard of Radix. It's all right. Spell and XRD I haven't really heard of, but I would leverage the TM grade for the ratings on those coins. Now, if I'm building a DAO, which blockchain, in your opinion, would be the most appropriate? Ethereum, in my opinion, is the best blockchain right now. Over 3/4 of activity on DeFi, DAOs, NFTs is happening on Ethereum over other chains. Then we answer that question. LinkedIn, I am on LinkedIn, just search for Ian Balina, but I'm not really too active on there. Okay, my question is about registering with the database and learning to use. I'm not sure I get the question. Basically, we have a book which can guide you through crypto investing. Then on Tokenimatics, when you join, we also do have tutorials that walk you through the platform as well. We also have a weekly customer onboarding webinar. Then is it worth investing in NFTs, and how do you find the best ones? I mean, so I think it is, but I would say 95% of them will go to zero, similar to ICOs back in 2017. So the question is, how do you find which ones are good? The ones that are good, in my opinion, are the blue chip ones, those that are first of a category. They're very innovative. Those that are very innovative will stand the test of time. Basically, if you think 25 years down the road, which ones will be in an NFT museum because they were that innovative? They were the first of a category. For example, the first NFTs like CryptoPunks, right? Or the first private social club, Bored Apes, right? So to me, but those, as a result of being innovative, they become very expensive to own. so not everybody can get involved. The other way around that would be to maybe get involved by buying a fractional piece of that through platforms like Fractional Art, I believe, which basically fractionalize NFTs. But trying to find the next ones to invest in is tough. But we are working on a product that's data-driven that will help with that in terms of finding which ones we think will be the next ones. Then Janine says, how do you determine if a token should be a long-term investment or short-term? A good question. Well, short-term, I would say is anywhere from a day to a week, if that's how long you plan to hold it. And then in that case, you basically want to look at price action, essentially technical analysis, quantitative metrics, momentum. If you're planning to hold for 6 months to a year or longer, at that point, you have to look more at, is it undervalued? And does it have good technology and good fundamentals that will stand the test of time? Basically, when a bear market comes, it's just the kind of project that will bounce back. If it is, then that's something more of a long-term investment. So long-term, I would basically leverage our framework of project that score fundamentals over 80%, technology over 80% that are undervalued. And we typically do that by sharing projects we like via a newsletter. So we have a weekly newsletter. It's a daily newsletter, but every week we share products we score highly. And then every quarter, we have basically our altcoin quarterly report, where we go through and share the projects that we think are great based on fundamentals, technology and code, and undervalued. So every three months, we should email that to our customers. Then does the basic plan give insights into specific coins recommendations? I know it doesn't. It just gives you just the ratings. Vincent says, do you have a type of portfolio that you manage with your methods we can invest in? Not right now at the moment. Basically the indices on our platform. John says.
So from Adiza, I just copied her question that she put privately. She was asking about SWIFT apparently, which is really a banking network, but I guess they're going to stop doing USD channel or something like that. I'm not sure what the question was, Adiza. You can speak up if you wanted to. Any impact on crypto there that you see?
But SWIFT, I mean, SWIFT is kind of like a legacy banking system for wire transfers. If you want to be supported by other countries, I mean, I haven't heard about that. I know there are projects out there like Ripple and XRP and others that are trying to be replacements for that. Even stablecoins, I mean, I think to me stablecoins are a lot easier, such as USDC, DAI, Tether. Those can be used to transfer funds globally a lot faster, almost instantly. Right, so I mean, I think the blockchain will definitely disrupt SWIFT. All right, and we can wrap up there. Thank you.
Got it. So you had your LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
Ian, and I don't know if you want to do that or not. I think you have an email, so somebody would have to put your email in to connect to you. I don't know if you want to do that or not. I'll leave that up to you. I think that's it for the questions. Otherwise, great session, and again, wealth of knowledge. I think everybody hopefully was able to get a lot from the session. Also, Ian, I will contact Zach afterward to get any links that he wants to send out to the whole group of over 500 that you guys might want to share, and then we'll also share the video recording. Anything you wanted to close with?
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I definitely enjoyed speaking to all of you. Looking forward to seeing you again. And yeah, I mean, crypto is the biggest wealth transfer in human history. So definitely here evangelizing that, and hopefully you all get in and build generational wealth.
Very good. Well, great. Thanks so much. And we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us. We'll look forward to hopefully getting to collaborate with you on a few things like the African Union coming up here. And thanks for joining us and taking the time.
All right. My pleasure. Bye.
Very good. Okay, guys. So before we wrap up, we'll close out. If there are any questions that you weren't able to put up to Ian that you would like to ask, and I can help, or some of the other folks, I see Azuka is on. So we'd like to, other questions you wanted to ask about, feel free to do that. Now, if you'd like to ask any questions, otherwise we'll go in to close it out and wrap up. Joseph, you got your hand up. So was there something else you wanted to ask about?
Yes. So basically, just wanted to ask Ian, because actually me and my team, we're creating a DAO. That's why I have so many questions about DAOs. And I just wondering, is there a way for us to like send you or your team like like more information about what we're creating, and see how it goes from there?
Okay, so I think he is dropped, but you should be able to message him either on the Tokenimatics site. There's a contact us there, and they can probably, you can send your information over to them. You can also contact them. I think he was on LinkedIn, though. I think he said he does not use that very much. So I would suggest going to a Tokenimatics, the websites. I think he shared them. And then you can go ahead and submit and let him know, here's the information about your project, and see if they can get some feedback. Also, if you want to give me the information, maybe I can include that when I respond to some of his team a little later to follow up, okay?
All right, no problem. Thank you very much. I'll do that. I'll send it through to you.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions, comments? Let's see. Azuka, you have something to add?
Not really. Maybe if I could add to the NFT he spoke about. I know someone did ask about NFT and how to know a valuable NFT. So maybe I could share about TreeDefi NFT to them. Like TreeDefi is a carbon environmental token whereby you could buy their NFT. They plant real life trees, and those trees are in turn tokenized into they are converted into NFTs. So each tree is worth one NFT, and each tree has a certain number of CO2 they absorb in the environment every year. So let's say we have a tree that absorbs 60 CO2 from the environment. So in a year, holding that NFT, you get 60 CO2 token, and one CO2 token is valued at about $30. So that means the more time you hold those NFT trees, the more money you can make with it. And you can also sell the NFT trees for higher price and sell the token as well. So I just put up the link. You can read about the NFTs and how it works and more about it if anyone is interested.
Cool. Okay. All right. I also wanted to put on screen really quickly, just as a reminder, this is something I was talking about with Ian. Let me share my screen for a second. The Plan B Bitcoin stock to flow. We share this a lot, but I want you guys to look at this because this guy has been super accurate. I guess he's either a good analyst or, you know, he's got some kind of inside track on this thing. But what he's expecting is for us to hit 100,000 before the end of kind of this cycle. So that's as we hit the end of this year and the beginning of the new year. And obviously, as Bitcoin goes up, it's going to bring everything up with it, right? So for those of you who are looking at the market, there's probably still a possibility to invest, not financial advice. And you should also take a look at the Plan B stock to Bitcoin stock to flow, and also think about dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost average, if you made some profits, think about taking some out a little bit every week or so as we get toward the end of the year. And also, if you aren't in yet, you could maybe continue dollar cost average in a little bit and see if the market continues to have that up movement. So keep an eye on this. This is really important for those of you who are still, kind of either new or you got some profits. Don't just sit on those profits. Try to actually take some out. It's a good idea. We got some comments here. Eve, how do you analyze which NFTs are valuable? I'll hand that to Azuka.
Well, if you to know about valuable NFTs, first of all, I would say the community behind it also plays a long role on how to determine valuable NFTs. And if I was to share also other platform on NFTs, you can check out the FOMO Labs. FOMO Labs, they're into NFT creation, and they are very creative designers and artists who design these NFTs, and they make NFTs for artists, singers, and sports teams as well. So I'd say the community actually makes these certain numbers of NFTs valuable. So if you're buying NFTs, you should look out for the community behind it that is pushing those projects forward. So community is one incentive you really need to look on when trying to buy an NFT, and the other ones are probably look for NFTs that are also solving real life problems. Like I just shared TreeDefi, which they are trying to solve the environmental problem and just to solve a environmental problem, to help out world government on carbon neutral society. So that's the easy way. We know they have a lot of NFT platform and different users creating NFTs, but not all these ones are going to have value. People just create NFTs because they see that it has the hype right now, but without a great community backing those projects, they tend to go down to zero in the coming months or years. So you have to look out for the project's incentives and the team behind it as well. That's another way to look at them.
And the second question she had on that was, what metrics would you consider before buying into NFTs, if any?
The metrics to consider. So to consider, to check out those metrics, like you say, like I just talked about the community behind it. So you have to first of all see if people are buying these NFTs and check out the price action, how often it's being traded on their blockchain, because you can also check out if they've been sold actively or people just buy and hold it. Those are also other ways to check. You need to know if they're buying it actively or it's just sitting there and waiting for just one person to buy. You don't just buy NFTs because they're beautiful or they have high price. You need to also check out the demand and the supply they have.
And I think a key note also, Eve, on NFTs is that, I don't want to be jaded here, but is that I think like traditional art, a lot of wealthy individuals actually use it kind of as a way to, keep their money from being taxed, possibly, right? So when you're like, wow, this thing is really ugly, and yet it just sold for $10 million, often it's because people are looking for a tax shelter, right? It's not because they think this is like the most incredible art ever. It's because, they can maybe put their money in there and then, it's not going to get hit with tax because it's a collectible or whatever, right? So keep in mind that not every time you see a super expensive NFT, it's not just about, oh, it looks really nice or it's really good, whatever. There's also other financial considerations going on there. Janine says, how do you create an NFT yourself?
Well, basically NFTs can be a JPEG picture on your computer, on your phone. So if you're creating it, you have all these NFT platform where you could launch them into the blockchain, like is it OpenSea? From OpenSea, you could get to upload your JPEG picture or whatever kind of video design you have, and it mints into the blockchain, but then you have to pay the transaction fee. So it's pretty easy. You can just upload any photo of yourself. It turns to an NFT on the blockchain.
Very good. Cool. Okay, nice. Any other questions or anything else you guys wanted to talk about on the topic today, as we kind of get to toward the end of the session here? Any other questions, burning questions, anything about the market, NFTs, DeFi, when to go in?
I wasn't really prepared. I just came into the Telegram group and I saw.
That is great timing. Great timing.
If I'm to share anything, I'll
ask Azuka anything.
I'll basically just talk more on the tree DeFi NFT, because it's saving, is working like a real life asset. Each trees that are being planted, you can check them on Google Map because it has a geo tag, where you can check the tree on Google Map, and you basically earn money by holding them, and you can decide to sell for higher. I've been trading those NFT for about 2 months now, and it's been really good. Holding them, I earn more token. I can decide to sell or still hold and make. And also, you can also probably get that as a tax benefit because you're saving the environment. So if you get to offset on those CO2, you can add that to your tax, whatever, when you're filing your tax in the US or in the UK, depending on where you are, because you're saving environments. That's what all the government are looking into right now. So trying to buy NFTs that are into real life project, or basically the CO2 industry right now is going to be the next game changer. So any projects that are in those aspects in terms of NFTs, or projects that are saving the environment, you guys should also check more on that, because right now everyone is going green. So the green industry in the blockchain is going to be big as well. So that's just probably what I'll be able to share right now.
Great. Any last questions, guys? Anything else before we wrap up for this meetup? Any other questions? Anything anybody would like to talk about? Stop sharing there. Okay, great. I don't see any other questions. I don't see any other hands up. So great session. I hope you guys learned a lot. I'll be planning to share the recording, also any links for Ian's Tokenimatics, and the recording should be available on our video, both on, I think, YouTube and Odyssey as well. And we'll send it out to the meetup group coming up here. So thanks everybody for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. Please don't miss the opportunity. Don't miss that knowledge that Ian gave, and also Zuko and stuff, everything we've been sharing here. This is a great opportunity for wealth building. If you haven't already taken advantage of it, please, please, please take advantage of it. Okay. Vincent, YouTube address. Yes, you can. Here, I'll put it in. Give me a second. Let me give you the channel here. Channel. Okay, if you're looking for my channel, I will put that up. It'll be up there. It'll also be on YouTube. Hopefully that works. And it'll also be on Odyssey. So we'll be sharing that hopefully by tomorrow. Okay, great. If there is nothing else, everybody, yeah, nice. Please have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week, and make sure you take advantage of that information that Ian shared with you, and make the best of the market right now to make some profits and build wealth. Okay. All right. Have a great one.